Hi everyone, it's Kelsey. Thanks for stopping by my channel today, and today is the June wrap-up video. I had a really good reading month in June. I read very broadly. I read quite a few different formats. I helped co-host the Laid Back Readathon with my friend Marty and Sarah, and that was super fun. And it just got me to get to some books that I needed to get to for that 5-star prediction video that I filmed that went up on Thursday. And so to look at the stats for this month, I read, as far as ratings, and I'm gonna talk about books from lowest to highest rating. I read 1 book that I rated 2 stars. I read 3 books that I rated 3 stars. I read 5 books that I rated 4 stars. And then I read 2 books that I rated 5 stars. So that's a really good reading month for me. I think I'm a harder rater. Like, a 5-star book to me is one that will stand the test of time, go on my forever shelf, and be something that I recommend to people nonstop, and I just gush about it. 4 stars are ones that I would recommend to people, but maybe not everybody. 3-star books for me are ones that I just liked. Like, they were good, nothing spectacular. Most romance novels are 3 stars for me, if I'm being really honest. And then 2 stars, not impressed at all. I don't really give books 1 stars because if it's a 1-star book, I'm probably just DNFing it versus a 1 star. I think my scale of ratings are 2 through 5 generally. Okay, so my first book that I want to talk about that I gave 2 stars to was Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail with this book for reasons, but I really thought that the premise of this one sounded really good. Ultimately, it just fell really flat at the end with the reveal. I am wondering, because I've read her 2 most recent books, so Apples Never Fall, and 9 Perfect Strangers. I'm wondering if her older books have more, I don't know, like if they're more thrillery or less bonkers. I don't know. So I am going to try to read another book by her. I want to read another book from her that's more from Liane Moriarty's backlist, because I know some of those books, it's like Big Little Lies, What Alice Forgot. I've heard really good things about those. So I haven't heard as many good things about these newer books. So I don't know if it's just she's become more commercialized and is maybe running out of steam, because that's what her books have felt like to me. They start off strong, and then in the middle, they just kind of drone on forever. And then when the plot twist reveal happens at the end, I'm just like, is that really it for this book? They're enjoyable, but I was not impressed by Apples Never Fall. It was also touted more as like a thriller. Liane Moriarty is kind of hyped in the way that Sally Hepworth is hyped. And if you know what I mean by that, then you're my person. But I just feel like Sally Hepworth is blurbed as like a thriller writer, and she's not. And I'm kind of thinking Liane Moriarty gets that same conundrum when people hype her. I just was very underwhelmed by that book. Okay, so for my 3 3-star reads, the first one I want to talk about is Hate, the Madison Kate series by Tate James, I believe. And I'll put the graphic right over here. But this is just a Kindle Unlimited romance that a bunch of my friends told me I needed to read, and that it would just kind of draw me in. And it did exactly that. I just totally got sucked in, read it in a night during the Laid Back Readathon just for a palate cleanser, because I read some pretty great books for that readathon. I don't really have anything other than to tell you. I will say, I guess the second book is Reverse Harem. The first book kind of builds up to that. So do with that as you wish when you're reading those books. The next 3-star read I read was Snow Glass Apple, and this is a graphic novel written by Neil Gaiman. The art is beautiful. It was my book club pick for the month for my In Real Life book club, where we're reading award winners, and we are finally done with this theme for the year. So my book club, every year we kind of pick a theme, and then your books have to be based on that theme. So this year we chose award winners, and every person got an award, and it just didn't really go over that well for our group. Like, we all lost interest. I had the Booker. That's a very dense literary award, and I haven't even read my book. I've tried it like 3 times and I just keep getting bored by it. There was the Lambda, which was really successful for some of us. There's a romance one, but it just, I don't know, it didn't work for us. And our book club is kind of trying to figure out like, what do we want to do in the new year? I think we're gonna do like broad word themes. So each month whoever is assigned will have a word, and then you have to pick a book along that line. So there's like sex, big city, small city, medicine, drugs, just things like that. And then you have to find a book that fits that. So our book was, I think this was like a young adult horror award maybe. And so this graphic novel is a Snow White retelling. The art is stunning, but it's real weird. And it's told from the perspective of the evil stepmother, but she's not necessarily evil, and Snow White is actually evil. And it was giving me, the drawings were giving me Samara from The Ring vibes. It's a very graphic novel. Short, I read it in like 25 minutes, but I will say the art was really pretty. It was very unsettling. It did its job. It's Neil Gaiman too, so you know it's gonna be a little strange, but this was definitely over the top. We had a lot of funny book club discussions, and if you want to see my review, it's on Goodreads. My review's hilarious in my opinion, but that's all I gotta say about it. The final 3-star read for this month was Psyche and Eros by Luna McNamara. That sounds right. This is just a mythology retelling about Psyche and Eros, and it was kind of slow in parts, but it did what I wanted it to do. It was easy to follow. There also were like, okay, sorry, my Instacart delivery just got here. So, ring the doorbell during nap time, even though I asked them not to, but it's fine. She actually did a really nice job shopping and was really kind. But when a baby's sleeping, it's very hard. Okay, so I was talking about Psyche and Eros, which I gave 3 stars. And I think what I really liked about it, it was a good introduction to Greek mythology. So you get Psyche and Eros' story, but you also learn a lot about other gods and goddesses and how their stories kind of play into Psyche and Eros. But I just thought it was a really well done book. I haven't read anything by this author, so I didn't really know what to think. It was an ARC I got on NetGalley, and it published in June. But I really liked it. It's very closed door, good writing. It was just very good, but like nothing stood out to me to give it anything higher than a 4 star. So those were my 3-star reads. And then for my 4-star reads, the very first book I started out with this month was A Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I actually listened to this on audio via Libro FM, and this is my favorite Ali Hazelwood. I really, really liked it. It's not as formulaic as the last ones, and there's a lot more look into academia and like gender discrimination within academia. Also just how it works, and I really like the politics of academia, especially in the STEM field. So really love this. I love Jack the hero, not the heroine. I read Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. That's another romance. That's a second chance romance. A very good beachy read. It had a lot of depth. It kind of reminded me of Happy Place, but I think I liked Same Time Next Summer better. I don't know. I really liked the scenery and like the setting. It had a very strong sense of place, and I think that's why I like it, because I do like books with a strong sense of place. Okay, I'm really hot from groceries. Okay, and then the next 4-star read I read was Empire of Wild, which I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. It's by Sherry DeMaline. It's the second Sherry DeMaline I've read this year, and I think she's going to become an author for me. I really loved it. It was Indigenous. It had really cool magical realism elements, a lot of commentary on how Christianity can hurt people, that I think is really, she just does it really well. That was for my 5-star prediction video. So if you want more information on like what I really thought about it and stuff, that will be in the video linked above. Then I read Confidence Man. I did this on audio. This is The Making of Donald Trump and the Downfall of America by Maggie Haberman. I was a political science major, an attorney, history major. So I've always really loved good journalism. And Maggie Haberman is one of the best. She followed Trump through his presidency, through his election. So she was like an expert. She was on the ground with him at all times, and he would constantly work with her and call her. And then as soon as she like reported something negative, he would attack her. But then like he still gave her an interview right before the book was published. So his public, not that this is shocking, but his public demeanor, he would attack her. But then because he needed validation, he would still talk to her. I just thought it was really well done. I really liked it as a presidential biography. I don't think it's going to be like a presidential biography that will hold up, because I would rather read one of Trump like 10 years, 20 years down the road when there's just been a little more history simmer, if that makes sense. But this was just really good because she did have a firsthand account, horrifying in a lot of ways. I'm not a huge fan of him. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably know that and can kind of guess my leanings, but it was just really well done. And she did a really nice job of covering his entire, like, she started from his like childhood to present. I really enjoyed it. And then the other 4-star book I gave 4 stars to. was The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. And if you have not read her, you are in for a treat. She is the queen of slow burn. This is the second book I've read by her. I loved Colty, which is a soccer romance. And this is a football, like American football romance. Guys, it was just so good. Such a slow burn. Like, the sexy scenes didn't even happen until like 95%. And so you just get a ton of character development and you just are rooting for each of them. I will say I tried it on audio. I don't recommend the audio. And here's why. Because it's dual narrated. So there's a male and a female narrator. And the female's wonderful. She's so wonderful. The main male character for the first half of the book only says like one word at a time. He's a man of very little words. And so when you're listening to this on audio, this girl is narrating like 99% of it, and then all of a sudden there's this very deep, nice male voice, but literally he just pops in, she'll say something, and he goes, no. So you're getting like a woman's voice, no, and it's just very jarring. Sorry, that sounded really weird, but it just seemed kind of pointless for how little of words he spoke, and I could not continue on because it was like, you get so used to her voice, and then this guy would pop in. It was very distracting. Maybe it gets better because he does start talking more later on in the book, but it just wasn't, it didn't work for me. It was very jarring. But I will say, like, this book for a romance was so good, and I read it in like a day and a half, and her books are thick. Like, they do take a while to read. I am very thankful for the publisher, for Avon, for sending it to me and letting me read an advanced review copy, and then also for Libro for giving me an audio version. It just wasn't for me as far as audio, but the actual story, the book, reading it with my eyeballs, fantastic. I really loved it. We're gonna go on to 5-star reads. So I had 2 5-star reads. Again, my 5-star prediction video really goes into this in detail, and that will be linked above, but my 2 5-star reads, The House of the Cerulean Sea. Is there ever a more perfect novel? I don't think. Every character in this book, you just want to give them a hug. They make you feel so good. And yeah, this might be a little saccharine and like cheesy and corny, but it worked. And if you think about when this book came out, this book is just like a shiny glimpse of light and hope and of all that is good in this world and what you like strive for the world to be. So I totally understand the hype of this book. It deserves all the hype. And even now, reading it, I held off on reading it for so long because hype, I don't really love hype. I'm an Enneagram 8. This book just held up for me. It was a hug in a book. I think V.E. Schwab, who's on the cover with the blurb, she says it's like being wrapped up in a big gay blanket, and that is 100% what it is. I just simply adored this book. It was so great. And then my other 5-star book, which kind of goes along with The House in the Cerulean Sea, is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. Also a book about a gay male, but this one's more literary, very thick. Follows a man throughout his life as he's just coming to terms with who he is and all the events that impact him. I'm mad I took so long to read this. This book was absolutely wonderful. And just fitting that I read 2 5-star books with queer storylines in June for Pride Month. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. I only knocked off 1 book of the month from my shelf this month, but that's okay. Like, I just can't re-up book of the month until I've read them all, and I guess I would like to do that in a year, but who knows because of my mood reading if that will be feasible. I got 3 NetGalley arcs read. I got a few more off my shelf. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I did a pretty good job. I'm really happy with my June reading. I don't really know what else to say. I had a very good overall. 7 of the 11 books that I read were above 4 stars or 4 stars or above. So that's a pretty successful month for me. I am excited to read for July. I've got quite an extensive TBR in my brain, but not one that I will ever film because, like I said, I'm not filming TBRs. And I'm a mood reader, but I like to have parameters. So I have quite a big stack between book clubs, videos I want to film, Summerween, all these things coming up. So I'm pretty excited for July because it's going to be some really good reading. We're going on vacation, and my husband and I, I'm sure, will listen to some audiobook. We're going to be up in Minnesota for vacation, and so I'm going to read my first William Kent Kruger book because he's a Minnesotan author. And then I'm also bringing my first J. Ryan Straddle, which I'm shocked I haven't read him yet, and I know I will love him. Coming up in July, that's one thing you'll get to see. You'll see Summerween. You'll also get to see a vlog of my trip at some point, and then I have a few secret videos I'm working on. One will for sure come up in July. I hope another one comes up in July, but I can't guarantee that because I'm a mood reader, and sometimes it takes me a while to get stuff. The one video that is coming up in July, I've been working on for 4 months, and I'm still not done with one of the books. That's what you have to look forward to. I am really curious to know if you had any 5-star reads this month and what they were, and then if you've read any of these books, I'd love to know your thoughts. It's super fun to talk to people in the comments about what you like to read. And yeah, until the next time, I will see you. Also, I got a dupe Stanley Cup and I love it. It's a simple, modern, I'll put the link in the description, but I think it holds up better than the Stanley Cup, and it comes in a lot more cute colors, and it's like a fraction of the price. So enough of that.